Hello, my lovely friends, and welcome to another episode of New World Anarchy. Today is April 21st, 2020. Wow. Uh, yeah, wow, that's all I can say. Yesterday was historical. Yesterday was historic, and oil plunged under zero for the first time in history, by the way. It hit the negative territory. Oil plunged to negative $40 per barrel, and that's never happened before in history. It's just, I don't even know what to make of it. I don't think anybody does at this point. The ramifications of this is just beyond what people can really absorb, because oil is, in case people don't know this, oil is the lifeblood of industrialized nations. It is literally the lifeblood of our economy. Without oil, our economy stands on oil, crude oil, and with it plunging like that, that's the key indicator that in we're in the midst of the greatest depression right now. It's not something that's coming in the near future. It's not on its way, or perhaps maybe we're in a recession, whatnot. No, that's none of that. That's all nonsense. Right now, we are in the greatest depression, and this isn't fear porn. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to instill fear in you guys. These are all facts, and like I say, if you don't believe me, that's fine. You can look up this information yourself on Google if you want, if you're interested. If not, you don't have to watch this. You can just hit the exit screen and just go on about your lives. But truth be told, that's what's happening right now. It's yesterday was a historical day. It was history in the making, and it was the first time that oil actually plunged under zero. That's never happened before. And like I said, our economy stands on oil. So without oil, there's really nothing. I mean, there's really not much, because all of the manufacturing, all of the packaging, all of the distribution, it's all connected to oil, to crude oil. It's like a giant web, and oil is right in the middle of it. So it's like this giant web right here, okay, like a giant spider web, and that's oil right there for you. Without oil, everything falls apart. That's what happens. That's how crucial oil is. And just to provide you a couple examples of what it's used for. It's used for gasoline for vehicles, jet fuel for airplanes. It's used for heating homes, electricity generation, generating electricity, and it's used for like practically every single day-to-day item that you use. Whether you go to Walmart, you buy packages of things, plastic bags, the loaf of bread, the plastic bag, that's oil. The plastic bag and apples and all the fruits, that's oil. Cosmetics, mascara for people that buy, that's all. It has oil in it. It has crude oil in it. Even soap, for example, has some sort of connection to oil. And the fact of the matter is that that's how crucial oil is in our economy. And for it to plunge like that, it means that this economy is in the worst possible shape that it has ever been in history. And I'm literally speechless at this time. Again, this video that I make, this is not filtered in any way. I don't rewrite, I don't reshoot, I don't re-record. Once I hit play, I speak my mind, and I try to convey as much information to you guys as I possibly can while I'm making this video. But that is our current state of affairs, ladies and gentlemen. It's something that it's really baffled me to a great extent, and because this is just the beginning. I mean, what just happened now, it's truly historical. It's truly unimaginable that this this actually happened, but that's where we are. And this economy was collapsing long before this, oil was trading for it was trading under the $30 mark, and for most countries, most wealthy countries, industrialized nations, that's not good because oil has to consistently be traded at a higher level. Otherwise, nations fall. And what really binds oil is the petrodollar. So the U.S. dollar. I don't know if you guys know this, but the U.S. dollar is practically backed by oil, by crude oil. That's what really backs the U.S. dollar. So the petrodollar. So any person that, I mean, not any person, but any nation that wants to buy or trade oil has to use U.S. dollars. That's just the way it is. That's what we had an agreement with Saudi Arabia, and they are they are the second to third largest oil producer in the world. You know, there's 10 nations right now in the world that produce practically over half the oil of the world. 10 nations, the United States being first, and I mean that's just the way it is. Saudi Arabia being second, and Saudi Arabia is able to sell oil to the world in agreement with the U.S., but it has to be in U.S. dollars. So what's right now, what we're facing right now is not only the collapse of the oil and the entire economy, but we're also witnessing the collapse of the U.S. dollar as well. So it's basically a currency collapse, and I mean, how much of an impact will that have for us as citizens of this country, as Americans, and the worth and the value of the U.S. dollar? So if oil continues to plunge like this, I mean, not continue, it's already plunged. At this point, I can't even imagine how at this point that oil can make a comeback back to what it was trading back in like early 2019. It's just I don't see it, because in the seas right now there's 160 million barrels of oil. 160 million barrels of oil right now sitting in the seas, in the docks, like sitting ducks, because there's virtually no demand for this stuff. Nobody wants, no nation wants to buy oil because the economies are shut down. So what use will oil do to these nations if they can't manufacture, if they can't distribute, if they can't package? I mean, we're having people laid off left and right. Unemployment keeps skyrocketing. Economy is frozen. Actually, it's dead, to be frank with you. There is no economy right now. There is no economy right now. It's dead. It's underwater. And with oil plunging to -40, now it's a little bit higher. But basically what that means is that they would pay you to get rid of their oil. They would pay you money. They would pay you around like $20, $30 yesterday. Now oil is around like $10. It's trading around $10 a barrel. That's what it is. So, like I said before, our current state of affairs right now is we are in the Greatest Depression right now, without a doubt. These are facts. You can look up all of this yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Look it up yourself. You guys all have Google. Type it all in there. Go to the search engine. Type in what the price of oil was yesterday and what it is now. These are all facts. I'm not just sitting here and just pulling these words out of my butt. This is just the way it is. But everything is connected, like I said, to oil. So without oil, everything collapses. This was happening long before yesterday's plunge. This has been going on for a long time, because when economies shut down, when people are laid off from work, when manufacturing is literally falling off a cliff, which has been happening for the past year and a half at least, there's no demand for oil. There's no demand for fuel, jet fuel, vehicle fuel, diesel, gasoline, packaging and distribution, plastic, all the chemicals in the plastic that make the plastic bags to package all the foods, to package all the fruits, the vegetables, the material that we use on a day-to-day basis. There's virtually no demand for that, because right now people are trying to have food on their table. That's the highest commodity in 2020. Seeds, food, water. That is the highest commodity right now, because what are you gonna do with fuel, with oil, when you're jobless and you have nowhere to go, when everything is shut down, everywhere is shut down, you can't even go anywhere. Why even put gas in your car when the only place that you can go to would be the grocery store? What demand is there for oil, right? What are we going to use oil for? So people nowadays are just using their money, whatever money that they have, that they got from the government, to purchase food essentials. A lot of states are banning the sales of seeds. Why? Well, because they want dependency on their franchise, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco. They don't want people to be buying seeds so they can grow their own food. That way they won't have any dependency on the franchises that operate, these conglomerate corporations that practically own all of the food that you and I and millions of others are able to buy. They don't want that. They want complete ownership and control of all the food. When they have control of all of that, all the small mom and pop businesses, they vanish. They're completely gone, which is what's been happening for the past year, this year, ever since the shutdown. What's happened? These small mom and pop businesses, they can't survive. No. At one point, they couldn't even thrive because of how much of a monopoly that was undertaking this nation, and that's what's been happening. Now it's just more so than before. So these large conglomerate corporations, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco, you name it, they've just sucked everything. They've just like swallowed it all like a black hole. You know, they've taken everything, all the small mom and pop businesses. I sincerely doubt, I'm not trying to be a pessimist here or anything, but I sincerely doubt that even half of the small mom and pop businesses will return at this point. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry to say that, but that's just the way it is. At this point, this depression has gotten so big that, like I said, food and seeds will be gold this year. Okay, you have seeds, you have food, you have water. You're a king, because that is the portal that we're walking into right now. That's what's happening right now. It's something that I don't think any one of us could have imagined, because we had life so amazing before this. I mean, all the years prior to this, let's face the truth, life was beautiful, you know? It still is now. These are still the golden days. Don't get me wrong. What we're living in right now, these are still the best days. So enjoy these days, because who knows if these days will come in the future. We don't know. There's so much uncertainty right now that every single day you have to appreciate what you have, because these are the golden days. Don't ever take these days for advantage. You still have food, you still have water, you still have your health. So take advantage of that, because that's what's coming, ladies and gentlemen. And this was actually said in the movie The Big Short, that seeds, if you've seen The Big Short, the guy in the movie was collecting seeds because that's what he said was going to be the future. Food, water, and seeds. And that's our life now.